Welcome back, West Michigan. You are watching Alive and Well. I'm Lynda Balkema, and we've been interviewing Shelby Denio, who was diagnosed with autism. And this is her mother, Pamela Denio. Hi. Thank you for joining us today. Tell me a little bit about what it's like being the mother of an autistic child.
I don't think it's any different than being a mom from a regular child, other than you know some of the hurdles your child's going to encounter.
Okay. Tell me how you discovered first, what were the first signs that led to the diagnosis?
We were actually watching a special on TV, and me and my husband are like, hey, Shelby does that. Oh, wait a minute, she does that too. And we're like, well, we had 2 kids prior to Shelby, so we're like, there's a little bit something different, but we couldn't put our fingers on it till it was 60 Minutes that did an autistic children with autism, and we seen that, and we're like, maybe that's what's wrong. So we took her and first to the school. The school said, oh, no, she's a girl. She can't be autistic. Because at that time, girls were not diagnosed as autism.
Oh, really? They thought it was more for... I'm going to have you step just a little bit closer to me here. So they thought it was more common among boys?
Yeah. At that time, it was a boy thing.
Okay.
Only boys could be autistic.
So you say she was doing some behaviors that you saw in the 60 Minutes show. What were some of those behaviors?
One of the behaviors was she didn't like clothes.
She didn't like clothes. Okay.
She didn't like clothes at all.
And how old was she at this point?
At this point, she's 6.
Okay.
And you're, trying to keep clothes on a 6-year-old. She didn't like pants. She didn't like any touching her legs.
Okay. So that tactile that we
see with a lot of autistic kids. Her not understanding when you were mad at her or when you were happy at her or a joke, like you'd say, it's all over when the fat lady sings, and Shelby'd look around and go, where's the fat lady?
She sees things very literally, very
black and white, very black and white, yep.
Okay.
And so it's been a long time ago, so I'm kind of shaking the brain here.
Right. And so you said there were, what did the doctors tell you initially?
Well, initially we took her to DeVos Children's Hospital. They took Shelby into separate rooms and tested her, and then they put us in a room and said to us, we have some bad news for you. Yeah. And they brought in a social worker, almost like they're going to tell us our child's dying or something,
Right.
And she says, I'm sorry, your child has autism. Mm. And I looked at her, and a lot of parents, I think, have a problem admitting there's something wrong with their child. Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest hurdle as a parent to an autistic child or any child that has a disability is saying, you know what, there is something wrong with my child and I need to get some help for my child. And I've seen so many parents that say, there's nothing wrong, even though it's glaring to the rest of us, don't be scared to take that first step. Yeah. And they said to me, Shelby will never read. She'll never live on her own. She'll never be able to function by herself. And you know what? Shelby can do all those things.
She can do all those things, and she has shown us, and she did such a great job in her interview. Wow, that just makes me, as a mother, it's just heartbreaking to hear that kind of news. I can't imagine the thought, but it just goes to show that don't always believe the first diagnosis, or don't take everything to heart like that. Doctors are fallible, and autism goes different spectrums, different degrees.
Autism is just as unique as the person that has it. And I'm glad that me and my husband said, you know what, I don't care what they say. Our daughter is going to read. Our daughter is going to write. Our daughter is going to be able to function at the highest capacity. We're going to get her all the help she needs. And you don't have to have money to get help. There's resources out there for people that are free, and there's a lot of people out there willing to help.
That's important. We are here at Muskegon Community Health Project, and we offer a lot of those resources. We offer links to health navigation services, pharmaceutical assistance, a broad spectrum of health-related things that we can help people with costs of some of those issues. And medication, did they ever put her on medication?
Shelby really never needed medication. There was certain things, like to get over the tactileness, we had to take a hairbrush and brush her legs with it. And I'm thinking the neighbors probably thought we were torturing her because she would scream bloody murder. Oh. And eventually it got to the point where I was in tears. I was like, I can't take it anymore, But you know what?
Whose idea was that? Who suggested that to you? How did you know to do that?
Just, you know what? I was real self-informant. I was one of these people that got on the computer, looked things up, talked to other, parents online that had autistic children. And it was just a sheer willingness, I guess, on my part not to give up, just like you don't on any other kid,
No, you don't. No.
Don't give up.
So Is there a local group? Have you ever been involved? Is there a Muskegon group for autistic, parents of children with autism?
There is a group. It's a kind of a loosely associated group, and you know what? I can't think of the name right now.
That's okay. It's just something we should look into because this is something that's tough to deal with, but it's focusing on her abilities, not a disability, but the abilities. And Shelby has a lot of abilities. I did speak with her counselor. He was unable to join us, but he did talk about some different things that he's worked with Shelby for 11 years, and he really has seen some great progress with her. And your willingness, everything you've done. Tell me a little bit more as Shelby developed and grew.
Oh, yeah. When we first started out, like I said, Shelby didn't like clothes at all.
Right.
And then we got her to wear just dresses, which was good because she was a girl, so we could do that. The boy autistic kids didn't have that that advantage. But eventually, you know what? As they grow, they outgrow some of that things. Like now, Shelby likes to wear pants. Pants are fine. Shorts are fine. She can, before we had to cut tags out of every shirt and everything, so she's, so that one. They said she'd never read. And Shelby actually reads at a college level now, and she's only in high school.
Isn't that something? And her math.
Love to read. And that's one of the things that autistic kids are real good at. If there's a pattern, and it's always the same way every time, she catches right onto it.
Yeah, and that's something she did tell us. She didn't like a change to her routine. Changing routine is really upsetting to Shelby still. She's adjusted. She's adapting more. Now, she is in what they call mainstreaming. She's in just 2 special classes, she said, and she now is in the larger classrooms. Has that been more difficult? Do you notice a difference with that?
I don't. I'm not necessarily a fan of mainstreaming.
Okay.
I'm kind of pushed into it by the schools. Right. I don't think autistic kids should, necessarily hang out with autistic kids, but I think it's easier when they're in mainstream to slip through the cracks for the parents and the teachers that aren't quite with it. Okay. They've got 30 kids to take care of. They might not notice one kid struggling. So, I'm not a real fan of mainstreaming, like I said, but as a parent, if your child is mainstreamed, be on top of it. Talk to the teachers. Don't talk to just the child. Every week, tell the teachers, I need a report. I need to know what Shelby's doing. I need to know that, that she's doing well or she's having problems, or is there somebody picking on her? Because
that is something that Shelby really sent a strong, clear message about don't pick on me. And that goes with a lot of the anti-bullying things. Children are picked on for many, many things. And Shelby said there are a lot of her classmates that aren't really aware, and I'm sure many of them don't even know or understand autism. And we hope to bring some awareness through this show and through Shelby. I think she has a great idea to present to the school herself, and I really admire her strength for that. There's 2 schools of thought on mainstreaming, of course, and I think that it's nice that Shelby has adapted. Socially, her counselor said that the best thing to help Shelby would be to have students who do understand and who want to be a positive role model and be a friend to Shelby to help her, maybe do some things that other kids that you consider normal, maybe proms and dances and those types of things where she can be comfortable.
Children aren't going to necessarily reach out to you because it's you're unfamiliar to them. So they're only going to befriend people that are in their family. So you're going to have to reach out a little bit, take a little understanding. But once you have Shelby as a friend, you'll have a really, really good friend.
That's right, a really good friend. And I wouldn't have known. Shelby had no idea who I was. And I started talking to her, and I don't know how we even came about the discussion, and she told me that she is autistic. And I thought, wow, I had no idea. I mean, I knew when you meet Shelby, you can tell there's a little different rhythm to her speaking, that there is, eye contact sometimes. Yep. She doesn't have this, and those are signs sometimes of autism. But I would not have known that's what it was until Shelby educated me. So it was really just great karma to meet this young lady and find out these things. And so if you're a student or you know somebody, there's probably people with autism in your school that you might know or in your neighborhood, reach out to these kids. Do try to be their friend. Take it upon yourself to take them places, to take them, help them go to a prom or a dance or a church function or a number of things that kids do, activities, sporting events, include them because it will help so much and make them feel so much better. And it will help with that process of what we think of as mainstreaming.
Right.
Yeah, leading a normal life.
Yeah. I, don't define a kid by what they have. Define them by who they are.
By who they are, exactly. That's an important message. Like we say, the abilities, because boy, her abilities, I think, exceed many. I really do.
Yeah.
Is there any other final message you would like to share with other parents? Or?
You know, just because you have the diagnosis and somebody's going to tell you your child can't, don't believe that first diagnosis. Go with your heart. Give that child all you can give, maybe even that little extra, and they'll be able to do it.
Okay.
And, you know, don't give up.
Don't give up. Okay,
Don't give up.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful.